Blockchain is a way to verify authenticity.
For the first time, we can lower uncertainty not just with political and economic institutions, like our banks, our corporations, our governments, but we can do it with technology alone.
When you vote, have you ever wondered whether your ballot is actually counted? If you meet someone online, how do you know they're who they say they are? When you buy coffee that's labeled fair trade, what makes you so certain of its origin? To be sure, really sure, about any of those questions, you'd need a system where records could be stored, facts could be verified by anyone, and security is guaranteed.
Perhaps one of the most common recurring applications for blockchain involves its ability to verify the authenticity of something. Tickets, products in a supply chain, NFTs, identity info, etc. Once again, proponents of blockchain tout its infallibility. Blockchain is guaranteed to confirm what was originally put on chain is still exactly as it should be. However, this in no way can guarantee the authenticity of anything outside of the blockchain. It only guarantees once data has been stored, it wasn't changed. And this brings us to the Oracle problem. Long before blockchain, us software engineers had a saying, GIGO, which meant garbage in, garbage out. The concept basically means the output quality of a system is only as good as its input. The principle applies not just to all computer systems, but to all logical argumentation. Sound arguments can lead to unsound conclusions if their premises are flawed. And there's one huge flawed premise with blockchain called the Oracle problem. Blockchain cannot guarantee the validity of data initially put on chain. That requires someone else, some outside system, an oracle, that provides the input. If the oracle intentionally or accidentally provides bad data, whatever's on the blockchain will be bad as well. So at best, all blockchain can do is tell you, here's what the oracle said. Whether the data is authentic is determined by the oracle, not blockchain. What this results in is a rather significant false sense of security. Let's illustrate with the standard application for which blockchain is promoted as a solution, supply chain tracking. Let's say I have a shipment of Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee that I want to track on the blockchain. It will pass through a number of transportation hubs en route from its harvest location to its buyer. We will track this shipment on the blockchain. Each point along the way, an entry will be made on the blockchain indicating this particular bag of coffee arrived and continued onward until it reaches its destination. How do we technically track the coffee? A unique identifier is associated with the bag, the equivalent of a private key, likely a special barcode on a tag on the bag. At various points along the way, this tag is scanned and recorded on the blockchain. Since the blockchain is public, anybody can check on the bag's status and see where it's been. If you don't have access to the bag, you don't know that special barcode. So this is supposedly proof this is the same coffee from harvest to delivery. Or is it? There are several potential problems with supply chain tracking that blockchain has no power over. The first and most obvious is whether or not the right coffee is even in the bag. Whoever fills the bag with coffee beans is the first oracle that determines authenticity. Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is very expensive, and it would be really difficult to determine whether the bag contained those specific beans or something much cheaper from elsewhere. You really don't know. So the real trust here has absolutely nothing to do with blockchain and decentralization. It's trusting the source is being honest with you. Blockchain can't do anything if they're not. Okay, so assuming the coffee is legit when it begins its journey, what happens next? The bag is transported by other parties, any of which could choose to swap the contents of the bag along the way. How would blockchain know? It doesn't. Basically, all blockchain is doing is tracking the barcode, not actually the contents of the bag. But it's even less secure than that because the barcode could be copied and slapped on another cheaper bag. Whoever registers the barcode is another oracle you have to trust. Okay, let's assume this special barcode is difficult to replicate and can't be removed, and the bag has special seals on it so that if it's tampered with, it's evident and the shipment can be refused as inauthentic. That would solve some of the problems, right? Yes, it would. And this technique is used all around the world for that very reason. Notice that blockchain has nothing to do with whether the bag is authentic. It's all the other non-blockchain technology that makes verification possible. In light of this situation, there's not a single thing that blockchain does that improves upon supply chain management. All major shipping companies have ways to track shipments. There's no need for that to be decentralized. A centralized system, as we've demonstrated, will almost always be more efficient, and the true test of whether the shipment is authentic will be a function of its packaging, not what's on the blockchain. So no, there's not a single thing blockchain brings to this situation that is better than what we've already been using for decades. And if you confront blockchain proponents about this, they'll often reply with the standard excuse, well, it's really early. The tech needs to be further developed. Exactly how can blockchain be further developed to address these issues? It doesn't make sense. There will always be a need to trust somebody in the real world. The Oracle problem basically negates a huge majority of all of the value blockchain claims to bring to various markets. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about coffee, medical records, or concert tickets. There is still some outside person or centralized system that has to provide the authenticity, and there's not really a good reason that this data really needs to be stored in a public database anyway. Why should your X-rays be on the blockchain? Why should how much money you get paid be in a public database? Why should a decentralized network need to keep track of tickets issued by a specific central venue when they have their own website that's cheaper, faster, and more reliably guaranteed to be operative as long as they're in business? It really doesn't seem advantageous to deploy blockchain in any of these scenarios.